morning, good afternoon. Hi, everyone. This is Mrs. Alexander. Uh, we had a bit of technical difficulty this morning or earlier on, about 5 minutes ago, when we tried to get started. So I hope that you are now logged in and able to see this video. If you can drop me a note, let me know if this is live for you. And that you are seeing the video, that would be wonderful. So then I can know if I'm on the right track and if I should get started. So I'm going to wait for a few messages to come in and let me know if things are happening. That will be wonderful. So drop me a message, let me know if I'm live and if you are seeing what's happening right now. We are about to get started. Painting for today is Special Delivery. And I was doing this one because I know we're edging into the month of May. We have been indoors for a number of days, if not weeks, because of our social and physical distancing. We have to be in because we want to be healthiest that way, and we want to make sure that we're keeping ourselves and our families safe. We know that there are essential workers out there doing what they need to do to make sure that we are safe as well. So we've got to do our part of the deal to make sure that their part of the deal runs well, and we're all working together so that we can all together stay healthy, be well, and look after the health of our nation. So I do appreciate that you're in. And because we are in, we are going to paint. So as much as we cannot get outside physically necessarily, we will be indoors taking a creative break and painting. And this week's painting is called Special Delivery, and we're doing it thinking of those who are special to us. There might be a female figure, it might be your mom, it might be a special aunt, it might be your grandma or nana, it might be, who did I miss? A special sister, any woman figure in your life who is special to you. We are painting this and thinking of them at this special time as we edge into the month of May, where we celebrate Mother's Day and honor those mother figures in our lives. I grew up with my grandmother, so that's who I'm going to be thinking of. I do have my mother who's with me as well, and I'm going to be thinking of both those women in my life. So you want to think of somebody in your life, some woman figure, mother, aunt, sister, nana, grandma, who is special to you as you're painting this painting. You can do this painting that I'm going to guide you through today, but you can also do more of these paintings after we finish doing this painting. So you can do one, and if you have more than one special woman figure in your life, you can paint more than one paintings. But I'm going to guide you through this one that we're working on today. And today we're painting this, which is Special Delivery. It's a picture of a basket in resting at the front of a bicycle, and that's what we're going to be painting. But in the basket, there are hearts, little hearts. Now, because this is your painting, you get to decide what you would like to put in your basket. If you would like to put flowers instead of hearts, go ahead and do that. If you'd like to put a combination of hearts and flowers, oh my goodness, go ahead and do that as well. And there's a little note at the top that says, to mom. If you wanted to change that note and put to grandma, to aunt, to my special nana, whatever it is you'd like to put, this is your painting. I'm just going to guide you through it, and you can feel free to put whatever you like. So we're going to get started by making sure that we have all the supplies that we need. I see a couple people have joined me. I see there's Heather. Thanks, Heather, for joining me today. And Tara. Thanks, Tara, for joining me as well. Let's get started. So let's make sure you have all the supplies that you need for today's painting session. You should have your canvas. Today I'm working on a 9 by 12 canvas. If you would like to work on something smaller, that's fine. If you want to work on something that's even larger, like a 16 by 20, that's fine as well. It just means that your paintbrush is going to have to be a lot larger so that you can keep up to the pace that we're moving at. So any size canvas is fine. If you didn't have canvas, you could use paper if you really wanted to, or if you have the inside of a cereal box, for instance, you can paint on that as well. I know it's hard to get out at this time and get supplies, so if you just use what you have, that's what we're going to work, and we're okay with that. You should have at least 2 paintbrushes. You should have a large paintbrush when we have to cover large areas on the canvas, and you should have a small paintbrush as well for fine detail. If you have more than 2 paintbrushes, that's great. So if you have 3 or more paintbrushes, large ones, small ones, make sure you have at least 2, a large one and a small one. You should have as well a cup with water. Because these are acrylic paints, they work best when you keep dipping your brush into the water to help the color spread on the canvas. So you should have a cup with water for cleaning out your paintbrush and in between paint colors as we are going along. You should have as well a paper towel in case you make a mess or so. You want a paper towel. If a paper towel doesn't work for you, you have an old you have a rag that you're no longer using in your house, in your bathroom, you can use that as well to wipe up any spills or messes. You can get that rag maybe a little wet as well. Or if you've got baby wipes, not just good for babies' bums, you can use them to wipe up paint spills as well. When an artist is painting, they put their paints on something. I hope you've seen this before with me. This is a painter's palette. If you have a painter's palette, great. If you do not have a painter's palette, you can use an old, maybe perhaps disposable plate, or you can use an old plastic lid from a container that you're no longer using, so we can upcycle and reuse things that we've used in our home before, taking care of the environment while we do that. So that's a couple options for you, but somewhere to put your paints on. When an artist is mixing their paint, what they use in most cases is called a palette knife. Palette knives can be plastic like this one, or they can be metal with a wooden handle. If you don't have a palette knife, today we're going to be using a popsicle stick. So if you don't have a palette knife like an artist would have, you can use a popsicle stick. When it's time for us to mix our paints, we're going to be using this popsicle stick to mix the colors that we need to get. Today, these are the colors that I've recommended. It's going to be hard for you to see the white paint on this, but we're going to be using white, we're going to be using red, we're going to be using blue, and we're going to be using yellow. And these are the primary colors that you're going to be using. And when you mix your primary colors, we can get our secondary colors that we need when we need additional colors. Thanks, Monique, for joining me. Thank you. Monique's my sister, and she's taking a quick look at us today. Thanks for joining me, Monique. Okay, so our paint colors are ready. We've got our cup with our water. We've got our paint brushes. I'm going to give you a few minutes to grab that if you need. As well, on my list of supplies for today, I did suggest a cup, just a plain cup, plastic cup. This we're going to use when it's time to draw the circle to create the tire, the wheel for the bicycle. So if you've just got a plain cup or anything that's around, the lid of a cover of a plastic container can work as well. Anything that's around to get that shape that we need. And I've also recommended using a Sharpie. So you have the choice of using a black Sharpie. If you don't have a black Sharpie and you think you will be good enough using black paint with a really, really tiny paintbrush, I've got lots of different kinds of paintbrushes. This is a really tiny one. I don't know if you can see it. But this one we can use to do the spokes on the wheel that we're going to do for the bicycle. So you can either use black Sharpie or a really tiny brush with black paint. I'll let you decide if you want to do that. Something an artist uses, and I'm using today as well, I'm not sure if you can see it there, is an easel. If you've got an easel at home on which you can put your canvas, great. If not, you're just going to put your canvas on the table in front of you. So we are about to get started. I hope that you have all the supplies that you need. And again, in your mind, think of that special woman in your life, or mother, grandma, nana, whoever it is that you're thinking about as we come into the month of May. Even though we're indoors, we're thinking of these special women that we would like to do this painting for, because we're making a special delivery, a bicycle with a basket full with hearts. You can make it flowers if you wanted to. This is your painting, and you are the artist. You get to decide how exactly you'd like your painting to end up. I'm just going to guide you through the necessary steps to get the painting done. Okay, so by now you have your supplies. You can always run grab something as you need. Just a note as well, you can always look at this video in future. So if you're not able to settle down today and get it done right at this time, because perhaps you're missing a supply, it's going to be up on my Facebook site, Art and Soul with Nicole, and with the help of my hubby, actually, just yesterday, I was able to upload these Facebook videos, live videos, onto my YouTube. I guess I have a channel, I think it's called. So I've got a YouTube channel. It's called Art with Mrs. A. Feel free to go in after today and look at Art with Mrs. A, which is Mrs. Alexander, and you can look at the video in the future then. So if you're not able to do it with us today, right at this moment, 1 o'clock on a Wednesday, then definitely go into YouTube, or you can look at the video on Facebook at a later date. So I'm about to get started. I'm kind of excited. I did a little painting yesterday, but today is Wednesday and I am ready to begin painting, beginning with my large brush. The first step, because I know these are acrylic paints, I know that it's best that my brush is wet when we get started to paint. So large brush, taking my water, I'm going to dunk it into the water and shake off the excess. I'm going to take it and press it against the edge of the glass, the cup, to scrape off the excess water. So my brush is wet and ready. If you think there's a little too much water in your brush, you're going to take your paper towel that we started off with and just lightly press onto the paper towel to take away the excess water. But I think my brush is ready and wet. And I'm going to start, if you look at this, with my background. My background is blue. So I'm going to start by taking up my blue paint. You are the artist. You get to decide on the color blue you would like for your sky. And if you didn't even want the sky to be blue and you wanted to put pink because that's your favorite color, by all means, go ahead. You are the artist. You get to decide what color you would like for your background. I'm going to do blue, representing the sky. So I'm putting my brush into my blue paint. And I'm going to start by taking my blue and putting that all the way across. Oh, look at the beautiful blue. That's for my background. So I'm going to take my time and completely cover my entire canvas in the blue color. I'm going to have most of my blue at the top. As I come down to the bottom of my canvas, I'm going to have less paint on my brush because I know I want to go in and do my grass thereafter. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Taking my brush, I'm going to get my brush wet, taking up more of my blue color. I'm going to completely cover my entire canvas. Large strokes going left to right. Looks like I took up a little too much water. Some of the blue is running down. I am not going to let that bother me because I know that I'm painting and I can just quickly take my brush or my paper towel and just take up that paint that just ran down. Drop me a line. Let me know how you're doing. Thanks, Rachel, for joining us today. I hope that you're thinking of that special person that you're painting for today. I'm getting the blue covering my entire background all the way across. Let's get some more of that blue paint. As you're painting, and because we're using acrylic paints, you need to keep getting your brush wet. So I am occasionally dipping my brush back into the water so that I can help the color spread. There we go. Back and forth. I'm taking my color all the way down on my canvas, all the way down to the bottom. So continue doing that. Sometimes when I'm painting, I like to listen to music. If you like painting, you can add a bit of music to it as well. It puts me in a good mood. So even though I know that I'm stuck inside, trying to be safe and thinking of the essential workers and those who are looking after those who are really sick, I'm staying inside, but I can escape to outside in my mind and on my canvas. So even though you feel like you've been in for a long, long time, escape on your canvas. You can create an outside image like we're doing right now, getting the sky done. Oh, look at that beautiful blue sky. Drop me a line, let me know how we're doing. How are we doing? I'm thinking of my grandmother that I grew up with, and I'm thinking of my mom. I love them dearly. And if I think about it, I've got a few other people I could think about, like my special aunts. Oh my goodness, my Auntie Maureen, my Aunt Jan. Oh, there's so many aunts that if I think about it, woo, I would be painting at least 10 paintings for them. Painting, covering my entire canvas with my blue color. This represents my sky. So I have more blue at the top. than I do at the bottom. If you want to take the blue all the way down to the bottom, that's fine as well. So I've just covered my entire background with my blue. I'm going to pause a minute, make sure that you've gotten to the point where your entire background is covered, making sure that occasionally you take your large brush and you're dipping it into the water, taking the excess off the edge by scraping it off the edge of the cup, and then you're going to take more of your color up, scoop it up, and put it onto the background for your canvas. And remember I said as well, if you don't want your background to be blue and you wanted a pink background, by all means, this is your painting. You are the artist. Use whatever color you like. I'm using blue because I kind of like blue. It's my favorite color. And you can decide what color you would like for your background. My blue has covered up the entire background. It did run a little on the side when I had too much water, but I just took my paintbrush and I quickly went over that, and that was taken up quite easily. The beautiful thing about acrylic paints is they dry very quickly, and so therefore even if you made a mistake or a little boo-boo on your painting, let that dry, you can cover that up again with another color, okay? So I'm hoping that everything is okay and that you're just about to the point where your entire canvas is completely done. And once I've finished with my blue background, I'm going to clean my paintbrush and get ready for my next step using my small paintbrush. And the next step is our grass. So we're going to get our grass done. If you've already got green paint, great. You're on the right track. You already got green paint. But if by chance you were unable to get green paint because you weren't able to go out and get that, you're going to have to mix the colors in order for you to get the color green. Remember that we started off with red, yellow, and blue, as well as some white. But if you don't have green, we're going to mix two colors. I know you might know what two primary colors, when you mix them together, you get the color green. You can tell me, I wonder. Well, nobody's here to tell me. You could put it in my messages to let me know. But in case you don't know, if you don't have green, you can mix the two primary colors, yellow and blue, and that gives you the color green. So we're going to get ready to mix that because we're moving on to our grass next, and our grass is green. So I'm going to show you on my palette how I'm going to get that done. I'm going to need my popsicle stick, or if you already have with you a palette knife, that's great. I'm going to use my popsicle stick. I have my plate ready with the colors that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to take my plate and I'm going to show you how I'm going to mix my yellow and my blue till I get the color green. There we go. Can you see that? My blues run a bit on my plate, but that's okay. So I've got my yellow, and I'm going to scoop up some of my yellow, find a separate spot on my palette, and put the yellow down. Then I'm going to take a little bit of my blue, not a lot, a little bit of blue, put it into my yellow, then I'm going to mix the two. Look at it. Can you see it? Yes. I've mixed my two primary colors, yellow and blue, and I've gotten a nice dark green. If the green is too dark for you, feel free to add some more of the yellow to it. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more yellow, put it into my green. So when we're doing our grass, if you look closely at the one that I did before, the grass is not just one color of green. So I'm going to mix another kind of green. I might make it darker, I might make it lighter. Let's see. I'm going to take up some of the green that I mixed, put it in a separate spot on my palette. There we go. I'm going to add a little hint of white to it. That way my green is going to be lighter than this one. So here we go. It's going to be lighter because I've added a hint of white to it. If you would like your green to be a little darker, you can add some blue to it to make it into a darker green. So at least 2 shades of green, or 3 is fine, to get the grass done. Now that I've mixed my 2 shades of green, I might mix a third one, not sure just yet, we're going to need our small brush because we're doing the tiny blades of grass at the very bottom. So my small brush is ready. My first step, because these are acrylic paints, is to get my small brush wet. Putting it into my water, shaking off the excess, just scraping the edge off. I'm now going to take my brush, it's already wet. If you think it's too wet, just take your paper towel, just lightly tap it on the paper towel. Then you're going to take up some of that green. I'm going to show you. My brush has the green on it. Can you see that? Green is on my brush. And now I'm going to apply that to the bottom of my canvas with quick little upward strokes. Do you see how my wrist is just quickly and lightly pulling up? That's the stroke you're going to use to get the blades of grass at the bottom. So starting at the bottom of your painting, you're going to start at the bottom and then quickly flick up in an upward direction to get some blades of grass in. There we go. Did you see? I did about 3 of them. Making sure that you get your brush wet. You don't want your brush to be dry. So I've just got my brush wet. Again, I've picked up some more of my green paint that I mixed using my 2 primary colors, yellow and blue. And now I'm creating the blades of grass that are at the bottom of my canvas, just like in the previous painting. Little flick of your wrist going up. There we go. Nice, beautiful blades of grass. And I know you might have to be in, you might not be able to go outside into the grass, but look at this, you're creating grass on the inside on your canvas. So even if you can't be outside at this time, you can create the grass that you would have loved to be playing in at this time. I know some of the parks are closed, and so some of you may have a backyard, some of you don't have a backyard. Whether or not you have a backyard right now, you're creating the grass that you could possibly be in. So put the grass that you would like to be in at this time, even though you might not be able to be in it. There we go. Oh, look at that. Lots of blades of grass. So I'm going to start with my dark green first, the first green that I mixed. Yep, lots of grass. Remember as well that grass doesn't have to be the same length, the same height. Some might be a little longer, some might be a little shorter. You have to decide what happens with your grass, but they shouldn't be the same height. If you go outside, even though you cannot right now, think about grass for a moment. They're not all the same height. They're almost like people. Some people are tall, some people are short, and that's okay. That's what I want you to think about for your blades of grass. Some of the blades of grass are tall, and some of them are short. So they should not be all the same height. That's what makes the grass so beautiful. There's so many different kinds. Tall ones, short ones, just like the unique people we have in the world around us. We may look different, we may be different heights, but we all work together. I've done my first set of grass, but I'm going to use the green that I mixed as well, which was the lighter green. I'm going to put in some lighter green grass. Oh, look at that. I think I might even do a third color for my grass. I might mix a darker green as well, which would just mean that I need a little more blue instead of yellow in my grass. Yep, I'm going to try mixing a grass that's a little bit darker as well. So take a minute or 2 to get your grass done. Oh, there's my dark grass. Some long ones. Remembering every now and then to get your brush wet so that the color can spread easily. Different length. Don't let your grass be all the same length. What I'm doing right now is filling up the very, very bottom of it with green so that there's no white spot. See the little white spot at the bottom right there? I'm going to get that filled in with some of my green. There we go. With my little brush because I'm doing fine detail. Very bottom. Yep. Blade of grass, blade of grass. Nice long thin strokes. So it's a quick thin stroke. Don't take too long resting on it to pull your strokes up. You just want a light, thin stroke. What I want you to do as you're working on your grass, because we've got to put the bicycle wheel in that spot, you want to make sure that you don't put as much grass at that end, because I want the paint to dry before we go in and do the tire. I'm going to focus more on this side. Once you are finished with your grass, clean your brush. Take it, you're going to put it into your water. Swish it around, take a look, see if it's clean. If it's not, you got to put it back in there. Swish it around, take a look, scraping the edge off. It looks clean now. There's no more green and there's no more blue in my brush. So I'm cleaning off my paintbrush. We are getting ready to begin to work on the bicycle. But because I need my grass to be dry, I'm going to give it a moment or two and get my supplies ready to do the bicycle. To do the tire is going to be our next step. We're going to do the tire first because that will then give us an idea of where we want to place the other things on our painting. I've got my cup ready. And I'm actually going to start with a pencil. So if you need to go grab a pencil, you can do so now. Go grab a pencil and you should have whatever cup you're using to get the wheel of the bicycle in there to get started. Grab a pencil, grab a cup. If your grass was already dried, I would have suggested that you simply use your permanent marker that we spoke about at the beginning. But because the grass is still wet, because we only just painted it, you're going to have to wait for it to dry before you can use the permanent markers. If you don't have a pencil, wait for your grass to dry, then you can go in with the permanent marker. But if you are ready to draw the circle for the tire, for the wheel, and your grass is not dried just yet, it's best if you use a pencil, okay, that way. So I've got a pencil, it's a mechanical pencil, but that's okay. If you've got one that you just sharpen, that's fine. Remember I said that this is your painting. If you would like to do a full bicycle by having both of the tires on your painting, of course you can go ahead and do that. If you want to do an entire bicycle, go ahead and use two of these. So I wouldn't just draw one of them. This is your painting. You decide how you'd like it to be. You're going to do two of the circles with your pencil. In my original painting, I only did part of the bicycle. This one I'm going to do as well. I'm just going to do the one wheel. But you are the artist. If you feel you would like to do a bicycle with the front tire and the back tire on your painting, by all means, go ahead and do that. You are the artist. You get to create how you would like your painting to be. I'm getting ready. I was talking that much because I was hoping my grass would have dried by now. It's probably not completely dry, but at least at this point, I can get my tire done using a pencil. Don't use the permanent marker because it's going to spoil and destroy your permanent marker. We want to be able to use it again at a later date. So I'm taking my cup, placing it on my painting. I'm keeping it to one side because I've decided as the artist that I would only like to do one of the wheels for my bicycle. If you would like to do two, leave enough space that you can do the front tire and the back tire. I'm just doing one today. Placing my cup on my canvas, taking my pencil, I'm going to draw around. If you are working on an easel, it might be better for you to take it off your easel if your easel is not too stable. Take your cup and your canvas, rest it flat on a table or some sort of horizontal surface and get that done. So I'm taking a look to see if I completely went all the way around. Looks that way. And I can see that my green is not quite dry. So I'm glad that I used the pencil instead of using my permanent marker, because it would have destroyed my permanent marker. good. So now what I've got is the outline for where, and you probably cannot see it because I did it in pencil. Let me hold it a little closer for you to see if you can see. There it is, my circle for my tire. So that's where I'd like my circle for my tire to be. Another important step once you do the circle is to find the center and put a little dot. So put a little dot in the center of your circle that you did for the tire. That's going to give us the guide for where we should put this part of your bike. That's going to be the guide for it. So usually I don't use a pencil when I am doing my paintings. I just use my paintbrush right to the canvas. But because we're going to be doing a bicycle, which might need a little more detail, and moms, you might have to help little ones get this part done. If you are painting with little ones who are 5 years old, and I'm looking at my daughter who's giving me guidance on what I need to do. Mom or dads who are painting, whoever is painting with us today, you might have your little one with you right now, so you might have to find the center of that, put that little dot in for them. And we're going to use the pencil just to give a little sketch on what our bicycle should be looking like. So what I'm going to do is, now that I've got this part of the bicycle, I've got the wheel done, I'm going to go just above the wheel, a little bit above, and I'm going to do a curve on top of. I hope you can see. Can you see that? I did a line above my bicycle wheel. So I've just completed this line. I'm going to do a second line because if you look at it, it goes this way and then back. So I'm going to go with my second line. Can you see what I did? For my bicycle, I've done a little line over it and the second one. So we just did this part, the part that the basket is resting on. Now we're going to get this part done, which is from this point, which is the center line that we did, all the way up into the handlebars. We're going to take our pencil and we're going to sketch that in. So observe that for the bike, it doesn't go straight up. Nope, doesn't go straight up. You're going to bend it slightly towards the edge of the canvas, then you're going to go up. So we're going to go slightly towards your edge of your canvas, and then we're going to go straight up. See? So I did not go straight up. I went slightly towards the left-hand side of my painting, I guess. It'll be right depending on how you're looking at it. So that's what I did. I went a little ways this way, then I went up. Now I'm going to get ready for my 2 handlebars. My 2 handlebars are coming in now. 1, and my second one. There we go. And those are the basics for my bicycle. Can you see that there? So I first started off by doing the tire, the wheel, the circle. Then I went up and I did my 2 parts right there, 1, 2. Then we went in from the middle of the bike towards the edge, straight up. Well, it's got a slight angle to it and that's okay. Then I did my handles for my bike, and that's just our basics. Then what we're going to do is put our basket, and our basket is resting right on top of this part. Just do an outline for where you'd like your basket to be. Just a basic outline. And I want you to think of a rectangular shape. If you're looking at the basics of the shape, it's just about like a rectangle. And if you really think about it, baskets can have so many different shapes. So I'll show you my basket shape that I did, almost like a rectangle. You decide how big you'd like your basket to be, because baskets, just like people, can have different sizes and different shapes. And it all works out. So I'm going to make my basket actually a little bit taller, maybe, so it can hold bigger hearts. There we go. I've just made my basket a little bigger. And I'm not worried about the line that I did on the inside because I know that's going to get covered up with paint. I've done the outline for my bicycle. I've done the outline for my basket. Then I'm going to have little hearts. I'm not going to put that in right now because I know that might change as I'm painting. But we are about to get started on the other parts that we need and that we have. So I'm going to put my pencil down because I'm finished with my pencil. And I'm getting ready to get my bicycle in. My grass, I'm hoping, is dried. But if your grass is not dried as yet, because we've done the sketch for the bicycle, we can begin painting the bicycle. You get to decide what color bicycle you would like to have. In my original painting, my bicycle is red. I'm going to stick with red. If you don't want a red bicycle and your bicycle, you prefer to have it pink, oh my goodness, by all means, go ahead and put in a pink bicycle. That is your choice. If you would like blue for your bicycle, by all means, go in and put a green bicycle or a blue bicycle. This is your painting. You get to decide what color you would like for your bicycle. Taking my small brush, I'm going to get started on my bicycle. My bicycle is going to be red. I'm not going to do my tire first because I know that my green is still drying. So I'm going to leave that part of it for a while. And I'm going to go in and do my bicycle, which I said it's going to be red. I'm using my small brush. My first step would be to get my brush wet, take the excess off of my brush. Going into my red paint, I cannot wait to make my bicycle red. If you think you want your bicycle to be orange and you do not have the color orange, if you mix the two primary colors, red and yellow, using your popsicle stick, you can get the color orange. If you think you want your bicycle to be purple, you can mix red and blue, and you should get a shade of purple that works for you. So you decide what you would like. I'm going to stick with red for my bicycle. My brush is ready. I've already gotten it wet. And now I'm going to put in my lines for my bicycle. I'm going to start with this one. Now, you're using your small brush, remember, because we're doing fine detail. We use our large brush for the background, but because we're doing fine detail right now, we're using our small brush. And the trick to doing something like this, with fine detail and thin lines, is to not press as much on your brush. The more you press on your brush, the thicker your line will be. The less you press on your brush, the thinner your line will be. And because we want a fairly thin line, you want to not press that much on your brush. I'm going to show you a quick demo. Got this little piece of canvas. This is my small brush. The more I press on it, the wider my line will be. I'm going to show you that with that same exact brush, the little one that I just used, I'm going to apply less pressure on my brush. I'm going to use my pinky finger to stabilize so I don't press. So if you're looking at this, can you see the angle? I'm just using the very tip of the brush, not a lot of pressure applied. And I can get a thin line with the same brush. The more pressure I apply, the more I press on my canvas, the thicker my line will be. The less pressure I apply, using the very tip of my brush, I can get a thin line. So when I'm doing my lines, I'm not applying much pressure. I'm not pressing on my canvas as much. So I'm getting my bite done. One part of my bike, picking up some more of my paint. Going to do the second part of my bike. I cannot wait to see your finished paintings and all the different colors of bikes that you're going to send to me. So remember, you can send me your finished painting on my Facebook page, which is Art and Soul with Nicole, so we can see what those paintings look like. I can't wait, because just like in life and people, there's so many different kinds of people, different colors, different sizes. Your bikes are going to look different as well. I am looking forward to seeing that. The next thing I'm going to do is, if you look at my bike, it's got a little red handle. So I'm going to put the red at the end. If you would like to completely fill all of that out with red, feel free to do that. I'm just going to put the very handle at the end with the red. There it is, just the end of my bike. On the handles, it's going to be red. I'm now going to go in, and I'm going to take my red and go all the way down to the center of my tire. Here we go, going down with the brush, using the tip of my brush because I know I don't want my lines to be too thick. How are you coming along with your bike? There we go, right to the center where you did that dot. How are you doing? We've got our bike that's red. You can have whatever bike color you like. Done my handles in red. That's the color I chose for my bike. I'm going to do this part in black as well. So I'm going to leave that for a moment towards the end. And I'm going to leave my tires. I'm going to work on my basket next. So now that I've finished my bike, I'm going to give you a minute or two to catch up and to finish your bike, whatever color it may be. In the meantime, I'm going to clean my brush and get ready to do my basket. Cleaning off my brush. There it is. I'm going to take a look, see if the red is out of it. If it's not, I'm going to clean it off again. Good. Looks like there's no more red. I'm going to scrape the excess off. I'm going to give my little paintbrush pat dry on my paper towel. And I'm getting ready for my next step, which is to create and paint in my basket. There's my basket. It's resting at the front of my bike. And I have to create the color for my basket. And you're probably wondering, oh dear, I don't quite have brown. I'm going to show you how you can mix your primary colors to get the color you're going to need to create your basket. If you'd like to have a white bike, you can use white paint to get your bike done. It's up to you. Get your bike done, just the basics of it. And then we're going to go into our basket. I'm going to get my popsicle stick ready because I'm mixing my paints. And my popsicle stick represents my palette knife. And artists can use palette knives when it's time to mix their paints, or I've actually painted an entire painting using just my palette knife. An amazing process. And the painting had amazing texture to it. Okay, now you're probably wondering, how are we going to get the color brown when we don't even have brown in our palette? We're going to mix our colors to get the color brown that we need, and I'll show you how we do that. I'm going to take up again some yellow. So I'm scooping up some of my yellow onto my popsicle stick. I'm going to find a separate spot on my palette to put that yellow color that I just put. To mix brown, I'm going to actually need some yellow, I'm going to need some red, and I'm going to need some blue. So a good bit of yellow, put a separate spot for it. I'm going to take a little bit of the red, put it into the yellow, and then I'm going to add a little bit of blue, not a lot, until I see the color. Putting that into my yellow and red mix. And I'm going to mix it up. So don't add a lot of blue. You want more of the red and more of the yellow and a little bit of the blue. Oh, there it is. There's my brown. Can you see that? Yep, it's brown. If you think your brown is too dark, you can scoop up some more of the yellow, put it into your brown to lighten it up a bit. Can you see that? I've just created brown, even though I didn't have it, by taking my yellow, taking a little bit of red, putting it into there, and even less blue and putting it into there until I got the color brown. Now, as always, when we're doing our paintings, we want to have a side that's darker than the other because we're thinking of shadowing and highlights. So I'm going to scoop up a little bit of my brown, take a little white with it, so I'm going to get a lighter shade of brown. White and brown, and so I have a lighter brown. I have a dark brown and I have a lighter brown that I added white to. Now that I have the browns that I need, I'm taking up my small brush and we're going to paint our basket now. Small brush, I've already mixed my brown, getting my brush wet first, scraping the excess water off, scooping up my brown. I'm going to fill in my basket color with the brown that we just made, even though we didn't have brown to start with. Here I go. This is my brown basket. I'm going to fill in that shape that I did. I'm completely filling it in with my dark brown. Here we go. I'm thinking of all the people that I'd have to paint this painting for. Painting it for my mom. I might do another one later on for my aunt, my Auntie Maureen, my Auntie Janet, my Auntie Monica. Oh my goodness, there's so many aunts now that I think about it. Yeah, there's a lot of aunties who would love painting like this. So this is probably not going to be my last painting. I'm going to have to do so many more of these because there's lots of special women in my life, and I would like to tell them thank you by giving them this special delivery. Look at that. A nice big basket because I'm going to have to put a lot of stuff in my basket. I don't know, I might add some flowers. There's hearts in there right now, but I might put some flowers in there. This is your painting. You get to decide what you would like in your basket. So I've completely filled my basket with the dark brown. But remember, I filled and made some light brown in my palette. I had a dark brown and a light brown. So I'm going to get some of the light brown that I've done, and I'm going to put that in. Oh, says that my video is paused. I'm not sure why. Oh, thank you for joining, Masika. So I'm now taking a look at some of the images. And oh, lots of people. Hi, Wendy. Oh, hi, Akko. Oh, my goodness. I'm now taking a look at my phone and the messages that are coming up. Thanks, Jillian. You said it's beautiful. Thank you so very much. Sam and family, you are watching. But yeah, you said that the video has paused. Oh dear, I don't know why. It seems like it's still going though. So try and reconnect. And if you cannot get onto it right now, you can look at the video later on Facebook Live. Or remember I said I was able to upload my last video onto YouTube. You can look at my YouTube channel, which is Art with Mrs. A. And I will type that in so that you are able to see that at a later date. I'll have my daughter, Nisa, who's helping me. I'm going to have her punch that in, that you can always check YouTube, and it's Art with Mrs. A on YouTube to look at these videos if by chance they've stalled or somehow stopped and you haven't been able to finish your basket. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry about that. But I'm so glad that I've come to the point where I am at today, because in the beginning we had lots of problems with getting onto Facebook Live, and I think I've handled the glitches, but we'll see. So I've completely done my basket in the dark brown, but now I'm going to take my light brown and I'm going to let the light come from this end of my painting. So this end of my painting is going to have light, and because it's having more light, I'm going to take that light brown that I created, and at this end of my painting, can you see that? I'm lightening up my painting. Just doing little light swishes across for my basket. This end of my painting is where the light is coming from, so this end of my basket is going to be a little bit lighter. I'm not sure if you can see that. Can you see? It's the lighter side of my basket. So I've taken my light color, brown, put it down this side, and then I've just done little quick movements going across, representing the light side of my basket. This is darker, this has more light at this end. So I'm going to wait for you to get that part of your basket done. There's my basket. For those of you who are older, so if you're older, like you're a teenager, and you wanted to add some more detail to your basket, you can create a darker brown and add the strokes of a basket, which is almost like a crisscross fashion. So you're going to take your brush, you can get another shade of brown. It can be a brown mixed with more yellow, a brown with more blue in it, a different color, and then put in the strokes that represent like the weave of a basket. So just crisscross marks going all the way across your basket if you would like to add some more detail. But I know I have little ones, like 5-year-old ones with me today, so for them we're going to keep it a little bit simple for them, unless you would like to go in and add even more detail. But we're going to keep it at the basics for now. Okay, so my bike is done, my red bike. I got my basket. That's going well. Now I'm going to go in with my black paint, if you have black paint, to get the tire done. We already drew that in pencil, so I have the outline for it. If you don't have black paint, then you can use, which I mentioned before, the black Sharpie. We've done all of the basket stuff waiting for the grass to get dried. How do I know my grass is dried? Number one, if I look at it, it's not shiny. When the paint is still wet, so if you look at your basket right now, it's probably a bit shiny because it is still wet. When I look at my grass, it is no longer shiny. If I wanted to do a test to check and see to be sure, I can just take my index finger, which is my pointing finger, and just lightly touch in a spot very quickly and take a look at my finger. There's no paint on it. If I were to check my basket right now, yep, it's gonna have, see, my finger has brown on it, lets me know my basket is still wet. But when I do a touch and a check for my grass, I do a light touch on the grass, there's no paint on my finger. So I know that I can now take my black Sharpie pen and go over these parts, or I can take black paint and get that done. Whichever is easiest for you, that's what you can do. I'm going to see if I have my black paint. Yep, I'm just going to put a little on my palette. And I'm taking my small brush, getting my brush wet. We always start by getting our brush wet. If there's too much water on your brush, you can use your towel, and also remember to scrape the excess off. I'm taking my small brush. I put some black paint on it. If you do not have black paint, you are using the black Sharpie. I've already done my outline, so I'm taking my time now and doing my outline for my tire. It does require a bit of a steady hand. If you're working on the easel and that does not work for you to keep your hand steady, you can take it off of the easel, hold it on your lap, or hold it on a table in front of you and get that done. Okay? Taking my small brush again, I've loaded up some more of my black paint, and now I'm going to go in and do my tire, that circle that we did before. If you don't have black paint, because it was hard for you to get at this time, because we are following the rules that the government has said, which is to stay indoors, you can use a black Sharpie. There's my wheel. Yep, do the wheels on your tire. Remember what we said, if you're using the paintbrush, don't press that much. If you'd like a really thin line, you don't want to press that much. Look at it. It's coming in. I can see the bicycle wheel. I can't imagine that anyone do the full bicycle with both of the wheels in. I would love to see that painting, so I hope you can send that in to me so I can see what that looks like. There we go. With a steady hand, or as steady a hand as you can, get that tire done. Take your time. Get the tire done. You can use black paint and a small paintbrush. If you do not have black paint, then you will be using the black Sharpie. Every now and then I'm getting my brush wet. Finishing up my tire. Going all the way around. Look at that. Drop me a line. Let me know how you're doing. I know we can't be outside, but guess what? We are outside in our minds and using our paintbrush. There we go. There is my tire for my bike. Ooh, I'm almost done with my bicycle. I'm kind of excited, and I love having a bike. When I was growing up, I grew up with my grandmother, like I mentioned, and well, we did have a bike. I think I was around 12. We did get a bike, and I actually had to share the one bike that we had with my two cousins that I lived with. So the bike wasn't really for any one of us. All three of us had to share the bike. And I guess that's where I learned about taking turns, because each of us would have to take, I'm after you, so the three of us, one of us would have a turn first, my cousin Keisha, then my other cousin Sparkle, and we would all take turns on the bike. So everyone had a turn on the bike. Sometimes we'd say, let's do 2 rides per turn. So that was really exciting because we all had to share it, and each of us had 2 rides going up and down. Certainly taught us about patience and taking our time and waiting our turn, because we had to share the one bike that we had among the 3 of us. But I remember those bike rides. They were absolutely fun. So I've done my wheel, done my tire. I'm going to go now and just finish off the handle on my bike at the top. Using my black, I'm going to take it. You can use, like I said, a Sharpie to get this done, or you can use a really small paintbrush. There is the handle on my bike. So now my bike is complete. I'm just going to take my black and maybe go down just a little bit at this point. If you wanted to make all of the handle on your bike, the bike color, feel free to do that as well. This is your painting. You are the artist. Oh my goodness, we're almost there. So what I've done is I've gotten my tire done. I've finished off the handles, so most of my bike is done. What I'm going to do as well is see just around the end of the red of my bike, at the very point, just at that end, I'm just going to do a little circle just around there, just freehand. A little tiny circle just around this end. Using the tip of my brush or my Sharpie. I'm going to hold it closer so you can see what I'm doing right now. This is what I just did. That little circle, that's just around the end of that part of the bike. So that way, when I do the spokes, which is the lines right through my bike, I'm going to be able to connect it to the black part on the bike that's right there. Okay? How are you doing with your bike? I cannot wait to see your finished bicycles at the end when you have completed your painting. So I'm looking forward for you sending me in your pictures of all the bikes you created. If you want to make your bike 2 colors, oh my goodness, by all means, go and do that. Bikes can have so many different colors, especially if you have your very own bike and it's got a fancy color on it. Go ahead and put that in polka dots, dots, lines, stripes. Just take your time and do that on your bike. But you can do that after when you are finished. Okay, my basket is done. I've just finished the tire. I've done the little circles just around that part. My red bike is done. By now, I'm hoping my basket is dry. I'll take a look at it and see if it's shiny looking. If it's shiny, it means it's still wet. Or I can do the finger test. Just quickly take my finger, do a light touch. Look, there's nothing on my finger, which means that my basket is dry. So now I get to fill my basket up with whatever I would like for it. So think about what you want in your basket. You can use hearts like I have, or you can do flowers. You decide. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take my Sharpie, because if you look at my painting, there's a little sign on it that says, "To Mom." I'm going to take a Sharpie, draw a line into my basket. That's going to be for my sign, because I need my sign to say to someone. So you can do a rectangle at the top. I don't know what I'm going to fill into that sign. To Auntie Maureen, to Aunt Jan, to Auntie Monica. I'm going to have to think about that. To my mom, you decide. I'm going to put a little line at the end of it there as well. So I'm going to have to fill this in with a color. You can decide what color you'd like it to be. In my original one, it was yellow with a bit of white. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put yellow and white. And here we go. I'm filling in that shape that I did. That's my little sign that says who my special delivery is for. Did you see that? I used yellow and white to fill that in. And then our next step will be to fill our basket with the good stuff, with the stuff we're going to be delivering. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it with hearts. If you would like to put flowers, I can show you how to do that. I'm going to leave mine with little hearts. And for that, I'm going to need my small brush. I'm going to show you how to create a flower, like a daisy sort of flower. And I'm going to show you in the center of the flower, I'm going to probably put the color red. Put a little dot with my red. Can you see that? And I'm going to clean my brush off from the red. And then I'm going to take the color yellow. I'm going to put the little petals outside of that. So there's two ways you can do that. You can start at the outside at a dot and then pull it in all the way around. Oh, it took a little bit of the red from the middle, but that's okay because that adds a nice color to my flower. Starting at the inside, then pulling out. You're lifting up as you pull away and out. Can you see that? That's one way to create flowers. There's lots of different ways. I just wanted to show you a quick way to create a flower. And even though it pulled up a little bit of the red from the center, I'm okay with that. I think that looks pretty good. So if you would like to create some of these in your basket, go ahead and do so. I'm going to just create my hearts, the little hearts that I had. If you feel better taking your pencil and doing a pre-sketch of your little hearts, go ahead and do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take my small brush, dip it into my red paint, and I will be creating little hearts. If you feel better to draw the hearts first, go ahead. Here we go. I'm going to make one heart. Remember what a heart looks like. There we go, my first heart in my basket. Good. That's one heart that I put into my basket. I'm going to definitely add more hearts. So I'm going to get some more hearts done in my basket because I would like to add way more hearts than just one. So take a look now as I get that done because I'm going to get more hearts done. Okay, so look at what we're going to do next. Take your brush and create more hearts. Gonna do another heart. Oh, this one's kind of coming out, but it didn't get all the way out. There we go with my small brush. My second heart. There we go. I'm gonna create another heart. Good. I've got 3 little hearts. I'm gonna add another one. And it's okay if your heart goes in front of your little sign that you made. It's okay if you have your heart go in front of your little sign that you had. So I'm going to create one more heart, maybe just this way. My basket is overflowing with hearts. Some of you might want to do flowers, and that's fine. Whatever you'd like to fill your basket with, that's what you can do. Fill your basket with whatever you would like to fill your basket with. Okay, so fill your basket with flowers or fill your baskets with hearts. This is your choice. Now, those of you who did the painting with me last week, we spoke about creating a 3D heart. So the little ones, you would probably just leave your hearts with just the red. But if you are a teenager and you want to add some more dimension to your painting, pick one of your hearts and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a little bit of white to the side that has the light. And we spoke about the light coming from this end of your painting. And I'm just going to put a little bit of white at this end, following the same. That way my heart doesn't just look flat. Can you see that? Looks like it's 3D and not just flat and red like the other ones. So I took a little bit of white and added a bit of white to the one side of the heart. I'm going to do that for the others. For the little ones, like my 5-year-olds who are painting with me today, you don't need to go into all that detail. So this is just in case somebody who's with us painting a little bit older and they might want to add some more detail to their painting. I think we have a couple like 12-year-olds and so with us. So I've just added a bit of white onto my painting to create a sort of 3D effect to my heart. That's my highlight when you're painting. We add highlights just like on this side of the basket. And if you wanted to add a bit of shadowing, you can add a bit of a dark color. So you might even use your brown if you wanted to, or maybe some of your dark green left over and put it on the other side of the heart. That's going to give it a 3D effect because it's got shadowing and it's got highlights. I'll bring it a little closer for you. So see, my heart looks like it's more of a 3D effect. Good. My hearts are finished. I think I'm going to stick with 5 hearts. Now we need to get the spokes on our bike done and the little message onto our painting, and then we are complete. We are almost at the end stage, so I hope you're bearing with me as we get to the very end. Thank you for joining me. Some of you are from the States, so thank you, Akko, for joining me all the way from the States. Some of you are in Niagara Falls. Wherever you are, thanks for joining me today. We're getting ready towards the end of our painting. So I'm going to get my black Sharpie, and I think my Sharpie fell because, oh, I got another Sharpie. We're going to work with that one because I don't know where my original Sharpie went. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get the spokes on our bicycle done using the black Sharpie. My first line I'm going to put closest to this part of the bike. You're going to go one line all the way through. You can use a straight edge or maybe even your popsicle stick to help guide you through that. So I'm taking my popsicle stick, I'm going to put it down. It's going to go right through all the way. When I get to the little black circle at the center, I'm probably going to stop. Using my popsicle stick as my straight line. I know popsicle sticks aren't necessarily always straight, but there we go. It's my first line. Oops. Taking my time, going all the way across. Ooh, first line. All the way through. Oops. And then I'm going to do the next one at a 90-degree angle will be next. So that's what I'm going to do next. All the way across, 90-degree angle, so that it's like the letter X. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. Taking it again, taking my popsicle stick as my guide, or any line. If you have a ruler, that would work as well. So I'm taking my black, I'm going to do the spokes, going all the way across, so I'm creating my little X. This is the spoke on my bike. So we're going to do that a couple more times till we get all of the spokes done. So now I'm going to do one all the way across this way and then all the way down. Taking my straight edge, or if you have a ruler with you, you can get that done. Oh, it's a bit moving. So if it's easier for you, you don't have to use the easel like I'm trying to right now. Just take it, put it on your lap, or you can place it on your table, a flat surface of some sort. There we go. I'm going to do one going up and down. Again, all the way down. So at the very least, for your bike spokes, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, but at least 8. For those of you who are older, you can take your time and go in between these lines and add additional spokes. That is your choice. So feel free to add more spokes. At the very least, you have about 8 of the lines in there adding for your bicycle. And then, now that I can see that my sign is dried, I'm going to take my finger, touch it, do a quick test. Nothing is off on my finger, so I know that it's dry. I'm going to write on my sign to, and then I get to decide who I'd like it to go to using my permanent marker. To, you decide who you'd like it to go to. I'm going to write to Mom for my mom. There it is, to Mom. You can also write with love, or come around Father's Day time. If you have a special male figure in your life, it could be Dad, it could be a special uncle. You can write to Dad if you wanted to as well. This is your painting. We have just completed our basket painting special delivery, which we did on our 9x12 canvas, going from beginning to end with our background. We did our bicycle, could be any color you so choose. And if you are not able to see the video in completion right now on Facebook Live, on my Facebook page, Art and Soul with Nicole, you can definitely go onto YouTube on my channel, which is Art with Mrs. A. So Art with Mrs. A on YouTube. You can look at the video at a later date if that works for you. I know some of you said that you can take YouTube and put it onto your television screen, so definitely go ahead and do that. We've just completed our special delivery painting, and the very last and one of the most important steps once you have completed a painting is to sign and date your painting. That way, in future, if you become a famous artist and they ask, well, what were some of your first paintings that you did? You're going to say, well, this is it right here. Look at this. You can sign and date your painting at the back. I've put my name and first initial and my last name, Alexander 2020. You don't have to put the exact date. If you want to put May or April, you can put April 2020, whatever it is, or just at least 2020. That way we know how old you were at the time. You can sign the back of your painting as one choice, or it's up to you if you would like to sign the front of your painting. If you want to leave your beautiful painting as it is and not have anything go over it, simply sign the back, or you can put your initials, for instance, at the front. It's important that every artist signs and dates their painting when they are finished. So we've just completed our special delivery. I thank you for everyone who has joined me today. I look forward to seeing all the various paintings. Some of you might have put the entire bicycle, so I look forward to seeing that. Some of you might have changed the color of your bicycle, red, blues, greens, whatever colors you like for your bicycle. I would also like to see if some of you change what's inside your basket. If there's something else you want to put into your basket, flowers, you can even add flowers in the grass at the bottom. This is your painting. Continue working, continue painting. And even though we cannot be outside physically, it's important to know that you can escape on canvas using your paintbrush and take your mind and your whole self outside just by using your paintbrush and canvas. Thank you for joining me today. This is Mrs. Alexander, and I look forward to seeing your painting. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.